It's time for the spoiler review.
Hell yeah.
Alright guys, spoiler review. I said we take this nonchalant, Kyle.
Yep.
Let's go through the movie. We'll bring up points, remember scenes. Let's just talk about what we loved. It's no positive, no negative. Guys, our scores, if you watched our non-spoiler review, let's just get it out of the way right now. Mine was a 9 out of 10. His was a 9 out of 10. We both only seen it once. We'll probably see it a few more times. We're talking some IMAX. So, right now, we're just going to talk about what we loved, what we didn't love, and we're just going to go into it.
Whole lot of spoilers.
And let's start off. Oh, spoiler galore.
Yeah.
We're spoiling everything. Guess what? Luke dies.
But yeah, for real, if he dies. Yeah, he dies.
Alright, but let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
Let's start.
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Sorry, I was a little too fast. Alright, let's start when the movie opens up with an epic space battle.
Yep.
And I loved it. I loved the epic space battle. I love that Ryan Johnson I love that they kept it in space. I thought the crawl, honestly, was a great crawl. Like, it's weird. Like, it was like
big
some of
yellow letters. I love
floating
that.
through space, but it summed everything up. I mean, this movie takes place right after The Force Awakens, and I think the next movie might take place a year or two past. I think maybe Leia might have passed away, stuff like that. Okay. So, and we might get that in the next crawl. So, this is all within, like, it feels like a week. Like, all this is like a week after everything happens.
Yeah,
it's a month or something. Like, it's real quick. But I love that we start off with Poe. And at first I was like, oh, I really want to see what happens with Luke and Rey. But then Poe's throwing quips, and some of those jokes really hit for me. And one of the negatives people are saying is the humor. To me, it's very nitpicky because, like, it's hard to be like, oh, you take the humor out of the movie because I didn't like the humor. Well, it just didn't hit a few jokes. I wasn't like, ha 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 ha. I was like, So it's okay if that happens. It's just a few jokes. Like, that happens in life. Sometimes this guy doesn't make me laugh out loud every time we talk. Sometimes it's a little giggle.
Sad, but true.
And nothing. So, some of the jokes didn't work, but some really did. I love Poe as a character, so we get right into this epic space battle, and we get to see so much of Poe's character, where he's like, we have a chance to take out this ship.
Yeah. And
Leia's saying, don't do it. It's at too big of a cost, and they do it anyway. And there's a handful of survivors.
As much as they did win that battle, it was a big cost. And it really shows that Poe is headstrong and that he sees an opportunity and he really takes advantage of it. But it does come at a cost. And between him and Leia talking about it afterwards, and she demotes him for being like head captain of the Starfleet or whatever the heck.
They love him. I think he's being groomed to take over Leia's role.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that scene is just amazing. I think it's an epic space battle. Yeah.
Filmed very
we get
well.
the death of Rose's sister in that battle, and that's when they kind of say, "All right, we're gonna be ballsy." And you think you're like, "Oh my god, she's actually not gonna grab the detonator. They're actually gonna lose."
That part I wasn't actually worried about. Like, I felt that was a little bit cliched, but you know, I mean, it worked for you. It didn't work for me.
She gets it though, but I think that's the movie saying, we're gonna bounce it around.
Teeter.
It happens. You know, Poe gets demoted. We get to see Laura Dern's character come into the fold,
take over his position, I believe.
Her position, Leia's position.
Right.
Well, no, we're jumping ahead too far because the ship hasn't been attacked yet, guys. We've only seen it one time.
Spoilers. Ship gets attacked.
But I love that because, I mean, let's go into it. It gets into then later they get tracked by hyperspace. Finn wakes up, and we get a lot of. Let's do that. Let's stick with the Poe Finn storyline. We'll go through there, and then we'll go back to Rey, Luke, and Kylo.
Let's get that storyline out of the way.
So, Poe's whole storyline I love because it shows him. It shows that he needs to learn how to understand when someone's in charge, to trust them. Because we get Laura Dern's character, whose name I cannot remember. I know it, but I can't remember. Lady. Now, she's from the book Leia, which is canon, and she's one of Leia's oldest friends. And apparently, she's a little. From what I've heard, I haven't read the book yet, but a little Luna Lovegood kind of, and
weird.
A lot of people were saying, like, they were like, oh, that's the hair, but then a lot of critics I've been hearing in reviews being like, okay, who have read the book, saying it sounds like they just didn't go with that as much, or this was such a dire situation that she just said, I have to be strong here, I can't be weird, I have to, but I loved her. I hated her at first. I was like, why are you? You're just sitting ducks waiting to die. It got me. I was like, there's no hidden motive. I was like, you are a turd. You are being mean. And then Poe goes around their back with Finn and Rose to go after DJ, which is Benicio del Toro's. Well, they go after the other guy, and then they end up with DJ.
Yeah, who's like a hacker, I believe. Is that correct?
Well, he's like a con man. I don't think he was actually who they were going for. I think they just kind of reluctantly got lucky. Mm-hmm. And then you find out that Laura Dern's character pulls 180 on. She's like, no. We knew this. It had this old base. We're going to shoot these pods. They're going to have no idea.
While they think they're attacking us and killing us all off on this one ship, there's actually like a rebel base where we can hide out there.
And I would have loved, one of my nitpicks in the other review we talked about, I would have loved more Laura Dern's character, to get to know her a little bit more, and she's just gone in one movie.
Especially because there's a lot of people that haven't read that book, so they don't know a lot
And you
about
shouldn't
that
have to, but it's okay, because I think they did it in a way where you didn't have to read the book, and you were like, alright, this character's BA. Like,
they did give us a quick introduction where we're like, okay, that's who she is.
Yeah, and let's keep going with it. She sacrificed herself. Now, I thought when she said, she's like, someone's got to stay, I really thought it would have been
Leia.
I thought Leia, I think maybe Leia, and I've heard friends who have not liked the movie been like, Leia should have done it, they should have killed her off. And that is so, like, they didn't reshoot the film around her death. They had a few reshoots, they left the movie the way it was.
Which was a little surprising to me. I thought for sure that they would just handle it that way, like try to give her like a triumphant death and then move on. But instead, like, they decide, no, let's just keep those scenes the way it is. It works just as well. Like, yes, it's a shame that Carrie Fisher did pass away, but we think that this is the best choice.
And to be honest, I think if Carrie was here and you said, and like she is like an angel or some kind of, I don't know, but you talked to her and you were like, you're gonna die tomorrow, I think she would say, no, leave the movie. Yeah. I think she would say, I also think she would say recast Leia. I think Leia deserves to go on. I think Carrie Fisher as a person would have said that. I don't know if they'll do that, if they choose to just write her off and the next movie opens with her funeral or something. I'm not
in the next crawl, like Leia has to do this other thing.
I'm not poo-pooing that idea because I haven't seen what JJ's...
poo-pooing that idea. Star Wars jokes.
Now,
anyway.
I'm not poo-pooing that idea because I haven't seen what JJ's going to do yet. So that's unfair to be like, oh, don't do that. Don't do it. No, let's see what JJ does first. Yeah. But the fact that Laura Dern stayed, I think when he originally wrote the script, he was like, we need a big moment with Luke and Leia. I think we need it. And it's not, I don't think fans, it's not like, oh, the fans. I think it's like, no, like the characters, I think, would get back to each other.
I also think it helps Poe's character a lot as well with that, because he was so against her at first, and then when he realized, like, what she was doing, like, as a leader, like, he really respected his art. And then when he realized that she was sacrificing himself, and he got tricked into being on board one of the pods, then that really hit him emotionally. Mm-hmm. And I think not only, you're right, like, we needed that scene between Luke and Leia, which we'll get into later, obviously, spoilers. But, also, it was to help Poe's character, and I really liked that.
I did too. So I think we're good with Poe. We both like Poe, loved his arc, excited to see more.
A lot more than what we got in Force Awakens, which I really appreciated.
Yes, I did too, because he was, and you saw this Poe in the Force Awakens. I thought, like, you saw the fly boy. You remember? I remember when he sits down in front of Kylo, he goes, "Okay, you talk first, I talk first." Like, I can't do. Like, he was funny. He was cocky. Yep. He was the fly boy, and we just get to see more of it, and I love that. And I've read some of the Poe comics they put out in canon, which even adds to his lore and where it comes from. And check those out if you're diehard Star Wars fans.
Sure.
So we've gone through we'll get back to Leia a little bit. Well, actually, no. Let's stick with Leia and let's talk about the scene everybody's talking about. Let's just talk about it. We'll get to her and Luke at the end when we talk about Luke, but let's get to the scene. They tease us with her death, and she uses the Force, pulls herself out of space into the ship, and this scene has hit people bad.
Yeah, I'm.
And you're one of them,
Yeah, I am.
So tell me why, and I'm gonna give you my rebuttals.
Let's. I'll say this to start it off. Like, this could very well be because Carrie Fisher unfortunately passed away,
and that's what I think is hitting a lot of people.
I'll take that with a grain of salt. Like, it seemed like this scene was meant so that way we can not only can we find that one shot of her actually using the Force, but also as like this holy, preachy moment of Leia just acting as a guardian angel of some kind and swooping back in to help save the rebel fleet after they get bombarded by attacks from not the Sith. I can't remember their name. The Empire, the evil guys.
The First Order?
Thank you, the First Order. This guy knows more than I do. So that it just rubbed me the wrong way because it just came across as preachy and not as a way to show her that she still does have the Force. She is a Skywalker.
I think everyone's, and I know, guys, I'm being mean, but I think the problem you have, I think the problem other people are having, I think it's because she passed away.
Yeah,
and I think that is
totally
so
think
unfair.
That could be part of
because I think when you see her floating and it focuses on her and has that Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy Star-Lord shot and she's flying through.
I did think that.
I think everybody's like, okay, well we've lost her, and it's sad. And then when her fingers move, everyone's like, okay. And then the way they shot it with her flying through, and sure, it is a little corny and cheesy. I'm not going to deny that. That's a small negative for myself. It is shot a little corny and cheesy.
Yeah.
But had she not passed away, if she was at the premiere, I think when she flew, everyone was like, well, they're only doing this because she died. And I think that's so unfair. I really do. And people are going to disagree. People aren't going to disagree. And I really think that is what's happened. Because I remember thinking it myself. I was like, oh, this is kind of weird with her passing away. And then I remembered in the movie, they didn't reshoot anything when she passed away.
Yeah.
This was in the movie.
So they were already thinking about doing that with that even before.
They already had shot it and filmed
away.
it. So... And I get it was a little preachy, but as a Star Wars fan, you have to understand, we've never in canon seen... Like, you gotta remember, guys, this Anakin Skywalker is supposed to be the chosen one, the greatest Jedi or Sith that ever lived as Darth Vader.
Yeah.
He had twins. It's not just Luke who's incredibly powerful. Leia felt Han die. And also, side tangent, I love that they explained why Luke didn't know Han died, because he cut himself off from the Force. He had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, true.
Side tangent, I loved that. I thought it was a great callback.
It was smart.
So, because Leia felt it. And that's why Leia couldn't find him. Mm-hmm. And she is just, like, Luke is one of the most powerful Jedi ever. Mm-hmm. Like, he's insanely strong, and we'll get to that at the end of the movie and how much freaking power it takes to do what he did.
Oh, yeah.
But as a Star Wars fan, like, for Leia to have been blown out into space, she can't breathe, and to be able to call on the little explosions, like, she's hurt, to be able to call on the little force she needs to be able to pull herself in is powerful stuff. And so as a Star Wars fan, as a lover of Carrie Fisher, I loved the scene. And it does hit a little nostalgia. I'm not denying, guys, it is a little preachy. I agree with that note. But I think people would fall, like I'm not necessarily saying, oh, it's perfect. But I think people would fall more on my end if Carrie Fisher hadn't passed, which is, I think, a sad thing to say. Well, but, and I'm not, but yeah, so that happened. So why don't now we move to the bread and butter? Because that's a scene, the Leia scene everybody's been talking about, and it's been very controversial. I think it worked very well. I loved it. Mm-hmm. Now let's get to Luke Skywalker and Rey.
Please.
And Rey, dead parents, Jakku. All right, that's her last name.
Yeah.
So we'll get there though, guys. So we start off with the scene. It's the same shots. The same spinning shot. She walks up, hands out the saber. It's epic. He holds it, and holy cow, he just throws it over his shoulder, and it got me. The people were laughing. They were like, huh, what? And I remember sitting there baffled. Yeah. I was like, Luke Skywalker just tossed his father's saber that Obi-Wan frickin' Kenobi gave him in New Hope. How do you do that? And he did it anyway. And I remember thinking, man, they're ballsy. Mm-hmm. They're going balls to the wall. And he is straight grumpy Luke. He's grumpy old man Luke. And
we were promised grumpy Luke, and that's really what we delivered.
I loved it. I loved it. And at first I was like, okay. I remember thinking, in the review, this is going to be a complaint, him throwing the saber. Okay. Changed my mind completely. I love it.
Nice.
I absolutely love it. And I think because it helps his arc. He's grumpy. So he gets to the island. He's throwing the saber. Rey's like, train me. We need you, Luke.
She keeps saying that Luke is the only hope that they have left in order to beat the First Order.
Yeah, and he won't have it. And I love that he's grumpy. He's saying, no, I'm not going to. And he's get out of here. Yeah. Get away from me. And, she starts to follow him on his daily routine. And she sees that. And, like, the scene with the milk, a lot of people are like, they're like, why? And I agree, it's a little unnecessary, but at the same time, I think as a story element, as for Rey, I think he's doing it on purpose. I think he specifically does it, and he drinks the milk, and he just looks right at her, and he's like, this is my life. Get out of here. Like, I'm an old crazy man drinking straight milk from whatever the heck that thing's called.
Don't know at all what that is.
So it's a weird scene.
Yeah.
But it's fine with me because I think it helps him. Any thoughts on the beginning, Luke, or should we get right into Chewie showing up?
No, I mean, some of those scenes that they were showing where he's, like, you know, doing all this weird stuff, like, you know, the drinking the milk scene, him, like, using the giant stick to catch fish or whatever. It kind of was, like, almost a callback to where Luke first met Yoda. For
yes!
Me, Yoda...
Yes, great point!
Yoda was kind of... Yoda's a weird guy. Like,
guys,
Yoda's
one of my favorite scenes is Yoda and R2. Remember, he has his stick, and they're fighting over the little torch, the flashlight, and he's just like, mine! And he's whacking him. I love that you brought that up, because I almost forgot about that. I completely agree. He's doing similar... It's not... I don't think it's like, okay, he needs to be Yoda. But it's like he's in his own position, and he's now, you know, being a little wacky kind of guy. And
I mean, if you're a hermit for like 20 plus years or so after something bad happens with the Jedi, like I would also be a little weird.
And it's all your fault.
I would also be drinking milk from the teeth of whatever that is. You know, like, I get it.
So so he goes into the house, and then she can't handle it, and let's get to the door breaking down, and Chewie comes in. So I thought at first it was because it was a couple bangs. I was like, all right, it's Rey trying. It's Rey like trying to get the Force. And when Chewie breaks that down, man, and he just shows up. Look, because he didn't know Chewie's on the planet. Because he doesn't have the Force, guys. He just turns and he looks, and he just says, "What happened to Han?"
Yeah,
or something like that. I haven't seen the movie again, but
I wouldn't mind starting this off first. Like, I really like that I really like that. You know, there was that slight moment where, like, you can tell, like, he kind of figures out in his own mind that Han sadly passed away.
And I'm sure Chewie was like, Luke!
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my, or yelled something, you know, in Wookiee that we didn't speak.
Right. So. But, and this was kind of a problem with the movie that I had as well. Like, it seemed like the scenes didn't extend as long as it needed to for emotional impact, and I felt like this was one of those moments where I just didn't get that much longer to feel Luke's emotional impact. Like, I thought it ended too quickly, though I did get a glimpse of how he felt when he realized, like, Han's not here. Where's Han? Oh, shoot, like, he's dead. Like, it just ended too short for me. So,
real quick tidbit, because I just thought of it. Yeah. So all Star Wars movies have the iconic line of, I have a bad feeling about this.
Yeah.
And I realized they hadn't said it in the movie, and then I found out that it is said in the movie by BB-8, and he wrote the line that BB-8 says it, and it's right at the beginning when BB-8 pops up, and they're flying at the beginning, and the way Poe responds is off of that line.
Yeah.
And some interviewer asked Rian Johnson about it, and he's like, yep, that was a great catch. That we specifically did that to see if people would catch it, and he's like, it's in the script.
Yeah.
So I just call back. Anyway, back to when Luke says, what happened to Han? And you can see a little tear in his eye for him.
Yeah.
Because he's been gone, and he's going to blame himself for it. And that's a powerful moment to have Chewie run in there and be like, hey, and to, have those two characters get together.
Yeah.
Another Chewie great scene is we get the Chewie Leia hug. We didn't get in The Force Awakens at the end of the movie when they get back. Yeah. So then it continues. Rey sleeps out. She's not in the hut. She's out in front.
Yeah,
we get the funny... I do enjoy the funny scene about Chewie eating the porgs. And he's just like... I like that scene. I know you're not a fan of the porgs.
That first scene was when I realized I was going to hate the porgs. I know, I'm a porg hater. I
love them.
I thought there was just so many times where it was just in your face. Porgs are cute and they're funny. Like, I just didn't get it.
See, I think when you
it was one of those moments where, like, I was almost happy that he was trying to eat a porg, but then, like, when they were like, no, we're cute. I was just, he did end up eating the porg.
He ate the porg.
Okay, but
I don't think they use the porgs in a way where they were like, cuddles, cuddles, cuddles. I think there were moments where it's just a cute creature. When you see a puppy in real life, it's cute. You don't get mad that puppies exist.
Literally, there's an action scene going on. Then all of a sudden it cuts back to a porg just full on in your face, just like it's. I thought it was so in your face. But
I think it's funny. Anyway,
I'm a porg hater.
So that scene leads in though to Luke.
Yeah.
Going into the Millennium Falcon and having the same scene Han does, turning the lights on, and he reminisces.
That was great.
And when R2-D2 turns on, it was literally like hearing old Luke.
He's
just like, R2? And he's excited. This is his friend, man. And R2 rolls up. R2 is the cocky R2, the quipping giant. He's like, hey, watch the language, little Captain America language, And then R2 gives him the, like, come on, man. You got a trainer. We need to do this. And he's like, I'm not doing it. And R2's like, I'm gonna hit you with the old school video, and he hits him with the old video,
literally the old school
and it's
video.
amazing because then he says, "All right, you get 3 lessons," and I love that when we move into that. Also, side note, we need more R2, man. We're getting I know BB-8's amazing.
Same with Chewie.
I agree. Like, we're not getting as much Chewie in R2 as we need. And like, it's weird because I'm okay with C-3PO, a little less C-3PO than we're getting.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, they want to throw BB-8 in so much that it's like, no, let's get a little bit more R2 than him just... I mean, that scene was amazing, but let's get a little more R2.
Yeah.
So, we move into that. We get the lessons. I love that the lessons are about him being like, I'm going to show you the lessons to show you why the Jedi have to end. And he's like, I'm going to do it to show you. And I love that. I love she gets the lessons. And then we get we find out later the Snoke manipulating the minds of Kylo and Rey.
Right.
And they're connecting. And I love those little Skype calls. I love them.
They were done very well. Like, it wasn't like they tried this big whole dramatic, like, force miss type thing, you know, where, like, they see each other, but they don't see each other, but we're seeing them both see each other, you know? Yeah. Like, it was just scenes.
And he even says, he's like,
just staring off, like, going
and
back
they can only see each other, because Kylo says, like, she's trying to be like, you're a horrible person, you're awful.
But he's like, I can see you, but I don't know where you are.
I don't see your surroundings. Can you see mine?
Yeah.
And there's, they make fun of when his shirt's off and all this stuff, and and I love those scenes. Yeah. And let's lead in. So Luke does the training, sees how strong she is, she's insanely strong, he's seen it before, blah, blah, blah.
He catches her.
She trains alone with a lightsaber. Yeah. And I will say this, I do like the caretakers. I thought the caretakers were funny without being in your face.
Oh, okay.
Of the island. And
I
even when the rocks fell, I enjoyed it.
I didn't think about them, so yeah.
So she has the first few scenes with Kylo. She gets scared. She has the blaster hole. She trains a little more. She starts to get a little used to it. He gets a little used to it. And it was a great way to see more Kylo, because we actually don't see a lot of him until those Skype calls really happen. Yeah. And when they happen, it's okay, and you feel connected to the characters. And then we get the dark side thing. We get where she goes into the hole.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
And she does what one of our friends really hates.
He hates the scary mirror.
So I'm going to talk about the mirror scene first, because I love it. I think it. Do you like it or hate it? Are you in the middle?
I didn't hate it. I just don't know much about
the Force. All right.
Yeah, I don't know much about the Force or what it represents, but I did like the subliminal messaging about her wanting to find out who her parents are, and then it technically does show her.
Well, that's her.
So
her pull to the dark side. It's her seduction. It's I should be more than this. All of a sudden, I'm on Jakku, and I've always wanted to leave, and all of a sudden, Han Solo's here, and I'm in the rebellion, and oh my goodness, I'm flying and killing and lightsabers and using the Force. Like
a lot of stuff.
She's like, I should be someone important, and so she's being pulled. She can't leave Jakku. She can't leave Jakku, and that scene. Now, I got into a big debate with one of our friends today about that scene in the voice narration, and he was saying, the narration takes away because it dumbs it down for fans, and I disagree. I think at times yes, I think at times no. I think in Game of Thrones it's done well where it doesn't dumb it down, and I think there are other movies it doesn't dumb it down, and I think in this it doesn't dumb it down.
Okay.
Because I don't think we need the mirror thing and be like, oh my God, what happened? Like, and then thinking to her, because when I saw it, I remember thinking, and she's doing the snap, and it's really cool, and it was, we focus first on one of them in the middle, and she starts to do the narration, and then she does the snap, she's testing it, and then it goes to the first one, and you see the two figures, and they merge together, and then they hold for a second, and
she was asking that scary mirror, like, show me, she's pretty much asking, like, the dark side, show me who my
show me what I want to know,
Yes.
Yeah, it's and you same with Anakin. Give me the power to save Padme. Yeah. Give me what I don't have. Yeah. That's what the dark side is. Give me what I don't have.
And there's these two shadows in the mirror. They form into one, and it sees her reflection.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I remember thinking in my head, I was like, okay, before the narration really started, and it starts pretty quick, but even when it started going, I was like, oh, I wasn't like, oh, she's talking to Luke or Kyle. I didn't know who she was talking to. She was just talking. At first, I thought she was just talking in her head.
Yeah.
And then we find out she's talking to Kylo, and she finds out, and they take a second. They were about to, like, I remember sitting there when the merges, and then she touches it, and it's a second. I remember being like, oh, they're going to be real ballsy. We could see Obi-Wan. We could see so many characters right now. And when we see her face, I remember just being like, we're not getting what we want. But it's all about her, and it's brilliant.
It's ballsy.
It's brilliant.
It is ballsy.
It is so ballsy. And then it switches to her, and we find out she's in a Skype talk with Kylo, and she says, "I've never felt more alone in my life."
Yeah.
And why, so you show up on this island, the one guy who's taking you in is now dead. And she felt like it was a father to her. He was so kind and generous to her right away. And so he's dead. Mm-hmm. Leia doesn't take you in the same. Everyone says you should go get Luke. Yeah. Luke's being a meanie butt. And you're not getting anything from him. And you feel so alone. And then you're in that cave. And you're like, the dark side's saying, we'll give you what you want. Yeah. And it gives you what you want. But at the same time, doesn't. Like, she was expecting to see something different. She was expecting to see her parents.
She was literally the audience wanting to see something big.
Exactly.
And then it finds out that's her.
To me, the narration doesn't destroy it. Because I get the same thought. Had there been narration, no narration, I would have thought in my head, okay, we're not getting what the fans want. We're not getting the big reveal. It's herself. And then in my head, I was thinking, because I went into the movie thinking her parents weren't important. And,
you did.
And I was hoping a Kenobi, man. I was hoping a Kenobi. Love the Kenobis.
As most fans were, I think.
Oh, I just love Obi-Wan Kenobi. My favorite character, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Anyway, it's just fun to say it. I was hoping, but I didn't think they were going to go that route. And when you see that, I remember thinking, okay. And I think without the narration, I was going to think the same thoughts. Yeah. It's about Rey. Yeah. The story's about Rey. It doesn't matter where she's from. It's about her. And I think that's such a great parallel to life. It sometimes doesn't matter where you're from, what you've done. It's just about you in the moment. Go do what you think's right. But when she talks to Kylo, had we gotten that scene 4 scenes later, it wasn't going to change the impact. Then all of a sudden she was like, yeah, I was in the little tunnel and I snapped and I felt sad. Like, I think it blended so well together. And it showed that her being in the middle at first and her saying, I need to get to the front, it all made sense to me, and it didn't dumb it down to me at all. And it gets there, and we find she doesn't get what she wants. We don't get what we want, and Rian Johnson has been in interviews. I read one today where he's like, "I didn't want to do that. We could have made it easy, but that's not life's not always about that." And for her, it's about her, and I love it. And then she talks to Kylo because she's getting these weird connections, and she's like, "Might as well open up to this guy. Nobody else is talking to me, and he's not being a." He's not being an a-hole right now. He's
actually
being kind.
That's the thing. Like they're both having struggles. Like Kylo, we just saw
killed his dad.
Yeah, but he wanted to be Vader so bad. But after this talk with Snoke, where he's like, "You're not Vader. Take off your stupid mask."
That's right. That's not, before I forgot.
So Kylo's finally like, if I'm not Vader, if I'm not what Snoke wants me to be, I don't know who I should be, and it almost parallels to what's happening with Rey, and that's why I think that these talks were happening for us as an audience.
Remind me,
because
I can't remember. Does the ship blow up before or after the face mask hit? It happens after, doesn't it? Yes. He goes into his ship after Snoke yells at him.
He crushes the mask, and then he asks for his personal ship, so that way he can lead the attack.
Yes, that's right. Okay. Yeah. So I think that's even more important because he goes into Snoke and he's like, all right, I did it. I killed my dad. I'm Vader. He's like, no, take off that stupid mask. Like, you're not Vader yet. And he's like, no, he's a kid. He's the only character in Star Wars, and this is what I love about it. He wants to be bad. He does not want to be good and is seduced by the dark. Right. He wants to be bad and he's seduced by the light. And I think that's amazing. And when he smashes the helmet, he's ticked off. He's not Vader. And then he's like, I'm going to go kill my mom. And then all of a sudden, because of what Snoke did, and because Snoke retaliated against him, Snoke didn't give him what he wanted. He chose not to kill his mom. And then the other fighters ultimately tried. And then he's conflicted inside. Yeah. And then when they have these conversations, it was to test Kylo. It was to test Kylo. That's why Snoke did it. And they open up to one another.
Yeah, they really open up to having Rey see that Kylo wants to be bad, but he can be good. And Kylo's trying to kind of manipulate her to be bad, but at the same time, he's seeing like, well, maybe I should I be good? Like, I thought it was really well done. And then they also talk about what happened between him and Luke Skywalker for a little bit as well, like in one of their last conversations, I believe.
So yeah, we get to the so Luke first says to Rey, he's like, well, he He said him and a couple other students, the Knights of Ren, which we still haven't seen. I want to see these Knights of Ren. Where are they?
That's going to be one of my pet peeves that I'll talk about later, but you keep going.
Well, hey, do it now, man.
Well,
we're just chit-chatting away.
I really like that both Kylo and Luke explained their sides of the story to what happened at the Jedi Temple that Luke was teaching not only Kylo, but also the other young Jedi that he was teaching. I did like that they explained like exactly what happened.
But at first, he just says a few students murdered everyone, seduced by the dark side. That's it. And then Kylo's like, no, he was gonna kill me.
And that, by the way, that scene where Kylo looks up and he sees what through his eyes what Luke Skywalker looked like trying to kill him.
As a kid,
Luke looked terrified. Like I peed a little. Like
seeing that green saber,
I'm gonna kill you. I'm like, oh my god, Luke! Like it. Mark Hamill was so good in acting throughout this entire movie. Like I gotta give a major shout out to him. But that facial expression. But anyway, the biggest problem that I had with these scenes was that we didn't get a little bit more about the entire battle that happened at that temple. Like
you wanted to see them all fighting. I wanted to see
Jedi. I wanted to see Kylo Ren
just murdering people.
Yeah, murdering so many people, gathering his knights, attacking the temple, deciding to make it his own, and instead, like we just see him make the temple or one of the huts collapse onto Luke, and then when he comes to, everything's destroyed. And I was like, as good as the scene was between him and Kylo, like I just wanted a little bit more of the
and we might in 9.
Yeah,
we might in 9 because sometimes it kind of doesn't measure up fully because when in the flashbacks, it's being murdered. Everyone's being murdered in front of Rey.
Yeah.
But that actually might not have been a flashback. That might have been a flash forward, and that scene actually could be if we're a few years later and Rey is starting to train.
Yeah. She
takes the manuscripts, we know, so maybe she's training. So that could be a flash forward instead of a flash back.
Yeah. That could be it.
And we still might get scenes where we get to actually see what happened more. But it was so intimate between the two of them. Yes. And when we find out later what Luke's like, no, what really happened is I was afraid. Yeah. I was afraid things were going to fall into place again. And when I saw my nephew sitting there, I hesitated. And before I couldn't turn my saber off, he had already seen it and reacted.
Yeah.
And it hits you hard because you realize that Luke builds. He was told by Yoda, you got to rebuild everything, man. Yeah. Like you win, you got to rebuild everything. He rebuilds everything. He trains all these kids, and one guy wipes it all out in a night.
Especially his nephew that
he sees as being pulled to the dark. I don't blame him for being afraid.
He sees him being pulled to the dark, but then it's finally him by accident.
You want to be blamed for killing everyone again?
I sure don't.
So it's a hard arc for him to go through.
And you see why he's grumpy Luke.
And you get the pureness of Rey to be like, she gets a little bit trained. She's like, no, I'm going. And she leaves. She's like, you won't do it, I will. And they have a little fight because when that final Skype call, when she says I'm alone, you see how powerful Luke is, man.
Luke
he just
sees them,
busts the
Luke
whole...
sees her and Kylo talking.
He senses something, comes back to the Force, blows the hut away. They end up in a fight. And when that scene where he falls down, but he catches himself with the Force,
how great was that?
It reminds you how powerful he is, man.
Like, oop, got a little bump, but that's okay.
So she leaves, and let's get to a scene I want to talk about that I've also divided some people, but I love.
Okay. What is it?
Big Dog Yoda's coming in, man.
Oh,
all right. Let's talk. So
how
she
can
leaves.
You not like that?
She leaves. He's
to try to convince Kylo.
He's like, it needs to die. I've got to kill these manuscripts. He's bringing the torch, and when that camera just pans, you see that little ear. Oh my god, guys, this is exactly what happened. I'm gonna recreate it. I'm sitting in the theater. It turns. We see the ear, and I was like, "It's Yoda!" Okay, it wasn't that loud, but it was like, oh my! Like I was freaking out. Oh my goodness! And when he runs up and Yoda, it's puppet Yoda from episode 5 and 6.
That was great.
As a Force ghost, I remember because I was going into this movie, I was like, I would love to see Obi-Wan, I'd love to see Yoda, I want to see Qui-Gon even, I want to see all the Force ghosts, but we just get Yoda, and I love that Yoda doesn't appear to Rey, and he even says, now this Rey girl, and I love that Yoda's like, I did my 900-something years of this, like I died, you were my last disciple, so I'm here to guide you. it's your turn to guide her.
Yeah.
You know, like it's your turn. And when you reminds you how powerful Yoda's is still, where he's the same Yoda from the 5th movie. You know, in the 60s, he's quippy and he's like, oh, you read the books, page turners were they? Like, were
Luke's
they?
Just like, I skimmed.
Yeah, he's like, I looked at him. Like, it was the same Luke Skywalker talking to Yoda in Episode 5, and I can't wait till this movie comes out on DVD. So I just want to sit there in one night and just one after the other and see how they flow, or just go 5 and then this one just for those moments. And Yoda summons the lightning, and he's like, I've got, you know. Then Luke's all of a sudden like, no, we need to keep these. And Yoda's like, let's not. But Yoda knows she took them.
Yeah,
Yoda knows she took all the books.
Which I missed. I don't know how, but luckily you came in and were like, Kyle!
Pulled out the books were there, so... So I love, and Yoda is given his last words of wisdom, and the puppet didn't take me out of the movie. I loved it.
It just made me happier.
It's nostalgia. It's great, and it's a great scene. Like
it was nostalgia without it feeling like it's beating you over the head.
But it's so important for Luke's character because
for that story,
because he cut himself off from the Force. Like Yoda hasn't popped up to talk to him in this time period when he's been alone, and he's just saying he doesn't need to have a long speech where he's like, "Oh, you need to, you know, Han died, it's your fault." But you know, he's just saying, you know, you were supposed to be the master, and things do go wrong, but now it's your turn to go out and help this Rey girl,
right?
And you need to go do something. And his X-Wing obviously was in the water, we saw.
Yeah.
So he could, I guess, pulled it up and tried to catch up to everybody in time, which he probably could have. But, we'll wait and get to there. Yeah, so now let's get to the epicness that is the final... Oh, so we haven't even talked about the scene we absolutely did not like. The whole Finn and Rose going to get DJ is a fine scene. It's a fine group of scenes. Needs to be in a different movie to me.
Yeah.
And I don't think it adds much to their characters. It's just an excuse to be like, here's Rose. She's cool. And I liked her and her chemistry. But the scenes with and it was just to set up Broom Boy at the end with the Force, which I was fine with because it reminds you that hope is, I like that scene because hope is everywhere. But I think let's just get to, we're going to swim around here. So, They do that. They get DJ reluctantly, who's, you know, like, oh, you know, like, look, these... And Rian Johnson wanted to show... We've seen the scum, the villainy. He wanted to show the upper echelon, the rich, that we haven't really seen.
Which I thought made sense.
Which is fine. It felt very, a little, like, I don't know, like... With the casino and everything, I wanted to get back to... I remember thinking, get back to Rey.
There was a lot of goofy action pieces that
and the second you see the horses with the creatures getting hurt, you're like, all right, they're going to free him again.
And shooting coins because
and I didn't like that
like putting coins in BB-8.
So they get DJ, and DJ does the whole... Benicio del Toro character's DJ. I like him. He's good, and I would have liked to see... I'd love to see more of him.
I enjoyed him a lot more than most people, I think.
And I like his line at the end where they're captured, and he's like, you know, you win today, they win tomorrow, you know, man. Like, this is my game. And I'm fine with that. But I think it would have been cool if maybe, like, DJ was a way where, like, they could have set it up where it was like, all right, the First Order's like, hey, there's a planet nearby. Like, there could have been a couple planets nearby. It's like, oh, there's a planet nearby, and we know this special hacker DJ is on the planet. Yeah. Let's send Phasma to go get him because he could break their shields. Yeah. Instead of us just firing. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, he could help us get onto the ship. Let's go get him. And then it becomes a tail race with Phasma and Finn. Yeah. And then we could, you know, somehow they end up on the ship. Phasma gets back. I think it would have built up the epic battle between Phasma and
as cool as that battle
Finn.
was.
And it was a cool scene, but I wanted a little bit bigger of a punch. Right. And then we don't get Phasma. I think she was just, very...
Phasma don't know what to do with her. We'll just throw her down the hole.
She was very underutilized. Yeah. So that scene, I felt out of place. And I like Rose. And then it goes in at the end with Rose is like, I love you, Finn, and kisses him, and it was a little like, we're gonna make them fall off, and it might be setting up a love quad triangle thing. I don't know. A lot of them feel like they're all fall. Even Finn or Poe was kind of when he was like, hey Rey, like he was kind of like, hey, I haven't met you yet, which they hadn't met yet. I know, which boggled my mind.
I know. When later in the film, like they both finally meet each other, I'm like, oh yeah, they never really did meet each other.
So that happens, guys. I don't want to dwell on it too much. Let's get to more of the stuff that we really enjoy.
Silly.
Like
next scene.
I understand all the criticisms with it. I don't think it's not Star Wars. All people are like, oh, it's not Star Wars. Like people go on those side missions all the time in Star Wars. Like, oh, we can't do this till we go do this. So I just think they could have executed a little. Like that's the only fault I'm giving Rian Johnson because everything else was beautiful and amazing to me. And that scene, that whole section is going to be something I fast forward through.
Yeah.
I'm going to want to, because it doesn't add to the plot to me. It doesn't add to their characters as much. And I want more Finn. I wanted more. And it did help Finn, and it did help Rose. Rose falls in love with a hero she's fallen about. She just lost someone she loves and immediately is on these missions. So I get that. And then Finn, he was a little bit more reserved. I wanted to see a little bit more. But at the same time, he was learning not to run. And not to just run away from everything, and it's not all about Rey, it's about something more and that he wants to fight. So I understand that, but they get onto the ship, they have the thing with Phasma, it gets blown away by Laura Dern's character, which is when there's no sound, and it's beautiful. Oh, that's one of the most beautiful shots I've ever seen.
I said this in the non-spoiler review, there's going to be a lot of scenes that our Star Wars fans will remember about for a lifetime, maybe. Yeah. And I really do think this is going to be one of those scenes. Like, not only was it shot well, but it was just such a gut-punching impact. They were just, like, literally the theater was just silent. I'm pretty sure I heard one person just be like, "Oof, okay, I need a breath." Like,
we all were like, wow. You could hear a pin would sound like a bomb. Yeah. Like, so that's our thoughts on that, guys. It is our biggest nitpick, I think, both of us, of the entire movie. Yeah. It takes away from the pacing a little bit, but then I think it corrects itself and starts flowing. It's a little speed bump on the road. But let's get to Snoke and the other big scene people are complaining about. Building up Snoke and then having him be killed.
So, Rey gets captured.
Rey is going to try to convince him.
Kylo, and instead she gets captured by Kylo.
They have an elevator scene like Luke and Vader do. Yeah, as they go up to meet the Emperor for the first time.
And I did like it. I did like that scene.
And she's like, no, you're good. Like, I can feel it. And he's like, oh, I don't know. And then so they get in there, and we see how Snoke's powerful, man. Snoke is powerful. And when he puts Rey down, and he says, you were nothing, and you were a device for my disciple to be stronger. He admits
to her and Kylo, like, he's the reason why they were able to connect with each other.
He's like, I did it to make Kylo stronger, and he says, strike her down, and then we see, and so Kylo's upset at Snoke, man. He's upset, and Kylo, we've seen, is the type of character, if he's influenced by one or the other, he can go a different direction. Yep. He's a little bit more gray. He's not just black or white. Mm-hmm. He's a mix. And so he kills Snoke. Now, let's get into it, guys. Everyone's talking. I don't know if Snoke is dead. He could be alive. If he is Darth Plagueis, he's probably alive. This could have been something for him to as a test. I do remember thinking in the theater where he was saying strike down, and I need to see it again because I don't remember if he used like strike her down or just strike down or something like that. Like, I need to hear, because I remember thinking
words are a tricky thing.
But when I first heard it, I remember thinking, is he talking about himself? Like, does he know that Kylo's trying to do this? Mm-hmm. That Kylo's going to kill him? And he's thinking, Kylo can be more powerful if we kill the dark, we kill the light, he kills Dad, you kill me, you become on your own, and then I'll be back to ultimately take over. And maybe not. Odds are he's probably dead. And I'm fine with it.
I don't another fast one.
I don't feel cheated at all. I don't feel cheated at all that all of a sudden he just dies. You build up characters all the time. I've talked to multiple friends, a couple friends of ours, in a group chat, we've all complained. I've talked to other friends who've come into my work and talked to me endlessly. Yep. Friends that, man, you haven't even met, that have come up, who have texted me and been like, dude, what did you think? All right. So I'm going to say this. A lot of people feel cheated. It's like, oh, you build Snoke up, and he's nothing. And maybe we find out who he was in 9. It's not answered yet. Maybe he was just, there's lots of theories. Maybe he was just the Emperor. There's novels in the Legends where the Emperor, when he thought, if I die, I'm going to transfer my dark side consciousness into another body. And it's in a decaying body, kind of like Snoke's. And then he goes into a younger body. Maybe that is what's happening. And maybe we got a body snatch trying to get after Kylo in the next movie. I don't know. Maybe he's trying to get Kylo's body. I don't know. I do think he's dead. And I think it's a Game of Thrones moment where it's like, hey, this character's dope. This character's awesome. We love him. He's building him up. And then you kill him. And, that happens. I don't know. I didn't feel cheated. I was like, oh, ballsy. I felt balls.
That's the thing about
that was a weird sentence.
Rian Johnson.
That was a weird sentence. I felt it was a ballsy move. I'm sorry, guys. Talk about
this
Rian Johnson.
This is a family show.
Talk about Rian Johnson.
Right. That's the thing with Rian Johnson. Like, he's not the kind of director that he really just addresses everything in your face. Like, he's really a ballsy director. Like, he always takes these risks with characters. Yep. And I think that this movie, and that's what I said in the non-spoiler review, like, he, not only this is a character piece, but this is also a movie that really does take risks and just it answers questions, but it leaves you with more questions.
And Snoke maybe is alive. We don't know. Yeah. But then we get an epic battle with the two of them fighting together. She throws the saber, he grabs it, just kills
the guards.
The guards. Know who they are, and I've had another
scene that Star Wars fans will remember.
One friend has complained to me where it's like, oh, Kylo could stop a blaster bolt, but he couldn't just instantly get rid of all those knights. He had to team up with her to get him. You guys don't understand how the Force works. Like, come on, man. That's not how the Force works.
Plus, that scene is awesome.
It is awesome, but Kylo can't always just be like, yep. Yeah. He's not Vader. Even Vader couldn't have done that. We saw in Rogue One, even Vader's using the Force killing people quick, but he still has to use his lightsaber and dodge and slash. Like, he can't just be like, kill.
Another scene, that's awesome. Like, why do you guys complain about awesome scenes?
Why is he trying to be super powerful? Because then when they murder everyone, he's like, all right, Rey, think about it. All these old guys have been saying, we gotta be this, we gotta be this, we gotta be this, and that's what he's been told. He was told by Luke to be good, he was told by Snoke to be bad, he killed his dad, and then he got in trouble for killing his dad, so then he killed Snoke, and now he's in trouble for killing Snoke. That's what Kylo feels like. He's conflicted. He's saying, let's get rid of all of it.
Yes.
Let's get rid of all of it. You and me, we're insanely strong together.
No dark side, no light side, just our own thing, and we can rule that.
And he goes, your parents were nothing, and you know it. They're dead drunks who sold you on Jakku, and she cries, and she knows it, and it ticks her off.
This scene is so great, because again, there's just so much ballsy stuff that they're doing with this franchise, and the one director that could do that is Rian Johnson. Yeah. Like, it's just... I just think not only is it powerful and impactful, but it also changes what we're going to be thinking about the Star Wars legacy. And in a weird way, it shows more about Kylo's character. Like, in a weird, twisted way, he's right. Like,
he's just tired. He's so tired. I would be being pulled.
I would be tired
and everyone's influenced. He's like, I'm the next Skywalker, and everyone's, you're gonna kill this guy.
Plus, when you think about it, like, it always ends up being the same. The good side, it overrules the bad side, but then the bad side always gets the upper hand, and then the light side has to...
the lightsaber,
like, it's a never-ending battle.
Well, think about it. They pull the saber. They fight over the saber. Anakin Skywalker's saber, the symbol of good and evil mix.
Yeah.
And they rip it in half.
Yep.
That it's never going to be perfect. It's going to be ripped. The light and the dark will always fight, and there will always be a blur at times.
There's always going to be that little mixture
of
both.
As we see ticks him off.
Yes.
And when we see the scene with Hux, where Hux is about to kill him, and he's like, well, I can take over now. Kill. And then he wakes up, and he's like, what happened to the girl?
He gets unconscious from pulling apart, and Rey escapes.
The ship cuts the cruiser cuts the ship in half.
That's right. Yep, you're right.
So then we see Finn have his battle, and then and then Rey gets out of there. They say she takes Snoke's pod, and she leaves.
Yeah. She goes down
she finds a way to communicate with Chewie, and she talks. She's like, Chewie, come get me.
Yeah.
They meet up. So we don't need a scene where she's like, Chewie, like, we don't need that, guys. Relax.
We got it.
And then he's like, yeah, she took it, and he's ticked. And he's like, get everyone we have. I'm in charge now.
Go down
to onto the planet.
Base. Let's just get rid of them.
The salt battle is beautiful. I thought it was blood at first when the first guy stood out. I was like, oh, that's blood.
And when he's like, takes a little sip first up, when he takes the bite, I'm just like, that's gross. And then he's like, it's salt. I was like, that makes more sense.
I was like, been there. Anyway, but it made for a beautiful battle. And some of the most epic shots.
I love how
ever.
Rian Johnson used the color red.
Yes.
Like, as weird as that sounds, like, just watch, if you haven't seen the movie, first off, why are you watching this review? Second off, like, just the shots where he uses the color red are just breathtaking.
So,
like, Snoke's chambers, the final battle on the
lightsaber.
Rebel base.
So we don't get a big epic lightsaber battle. Fine.
Not really.
It's okay. The only lightsabers clashing against each other we get is in the flashback.
Plus that scene with Ren and Kylo is
That's fine, because we're probably going to get a really, really epic one in the final trilogy, which you get
lightsabers.
But you get that in all three of them. You get the big epic one in the third, in the prequels, the third movie, and then you get the real big one in the sixth movie, and now you get the one in the ninth movie. So I'm fine with that. But so the scene happens, we get the scene with Finn, the love thing happens, it's out of place, but it happens. We get the epic fights, we get the cruisers, we get Rey coming in, Rey landing with Chewie, going to save him, they find a way to escape. Let's talk about the big moment, because we got to wrap up here. We're pretty long, guys.
Yeah, sorry.
But we got to wrap up here, and then Luke shows up. And when Luke shows up, they're like, we send a signal. She's like, we send a signal, no one's coming. And then Luke walks in, And I remember the first thing I thought is, man, he got a haircut before he showed up.
You dyed your beard, dude.
Yeah, and then he talks to her, and they have their moment. Scene. He gives her the dice, and he's like, hey.
The dice from Han Solo's...
it's absolutely beautiful. It's
they have their moment, and then he goes out, and he asks Kylo to come.
And he's a one-up. Well, he just stands there, and he says, fire on everything we got.
Right.
And when the first thing happens, I was like, oh, this is going to be cool. Because I remember thinking at first in my head, I was like, he looks different, but I was like, I just decided, it might be... I don't know what's going to happen.
Climax, like you want to make Luke
but I'm not. I don't want to sit there. Like I didn't want to sit there and be like, why does Luke look different? I wanted to look at the scene and focus on the scene.
It did bother me a little bit, but I was like,
well, I mean, he looked amazing in his old school black suit.
True.
So, but then the lasers are just
shooting everything at him. Everyone's like, well, he's dead.
And nobody gets why he's doing it. Even Hux is like, dude, that's enough. And then they stop, and he's fine. And I remember being like, wow.
He literally just walks. Is that all?
And I remember being like, he's that. They're showing. And I remember wanting just smash them all at once. Leave the plane. Kylo's on. Kill everyone. Yeah. It doesn't happen. Get the one-on-one moment. And then he pulls all the blue lightsaber. And that's when I was like, when did he get that again? Like, guys, everyone's like, oh, it's a hologram. I called it right away. Who gives a crap? He called it right away. I don't. I remember thinking, got the blue lightsaber.
Did not
holding
see that
him,
coming.
Seeing him holding the blue lightsaber, I was like, wow. And when he starts fighting, I was like, he's showing off for the little guy, for Kylo.
Kylo's
he's dodging
so hard, and Luke's just like, this is so
and
easy.
Then he has
he was dodging like this, by the way. He was just
and then he has an Obi-Wan Kenobi moment. Strike me down, I will become more powerful than you'll ever know. And then Kylo gets really mad.
Yeah.
And we finally see, because Luke said, I know this happened, and he says, there will always be a Jedi. I'm not the last. And it's not about how he is the last Jedi. It's about that there will always be a Jedi.
And while that's happening, it pans to Rey saving the rebels through like a back way in the...
using the Force to lift a few
rocks.
Luke
is distracting the First Order
for them
so
to
that
escape.
way they can escape.
For the few rebels to escape. And I think...
and it really shows that Rey finally... It almost felt like Rey finally became pure.
She did. She accepted it.
And
the parent thing...
She accepted that she is her own.
A lot of people think Kylo lied. I think Kylo believes it's true. Now, we could find out and it's like, oh, you are Obi-Wan Kenobi's granddaughter. You are someone's daughter. That's important. You're Iden's daughter from Battlefront, which they had a different name for her in the DLC.
Zay or something.
Yeah, but you never know. It could be anyone.
Sneaky guys.
But I'm kind of on the belief it's no one, and
I would
maybe
not mind
it's
that.
a grandparent. I like that because it's saying that when the Force is out of whack, and the Force was like, all right, we thought Anakin would fix it, and he didn't, so now we're gonna try this. And Luke fixed it, but then Kylo screwed it up. Screw this Skywalker family. Let's just make this Rey girl. Like that's what the Force did. It was like we have to balance this. It's gotten way out of hand.
Yeah.
And it balanced it and Rey admitted, I never felt more alone, and then these people take me in, the First Order take me in, and she rallies with them, she saves them, and I think the moment with Finn is important, because it wasn't just, oh, you're hot, it was, you're important, I'm important, and I think you could be my friend.
Yeah.
And that's what she needs, family.
Yeah.
And the First Order, or the Resistance can give her that. And so Kylo's ticked, runs in, and we see, and I was like, he's a Force hologram. And I remember being like, give us the epic moment. And that was the epic moment. He's meditating and floating on a rock galaxies away. Galaxies. Do you know how powerful you have to be to project yourself into on another planet?
For everyone to see you on that planet.
You have to manifest dice that stay alive over there. He's ballsy, man. It's not that he's like, I gotta get my X-Wing and hurry. He just said, no, I'm gonna finish it from here.
Why would I get it out of the water?
He accepted his fate, and it was so the energy it took killed him, and he faded away. But that final shot, man, where the two suns come up, and he's just sitting there staring happy, and then it goes behind him, and then he vanishes, and it floats away. The two suns, just like on Tatooine at the first. It was the best way to wrap up his arc, and it was beautiful for his character to be told, you're the one who has to build everything. He builds it. His nephew ruins it. He hates himself. He's like, the Jedi are stupid. And then he's reminded that the Jedi aren't, and they're needed. You need that. And he says, I'm going to do this one final thing. And because everyone's saying, oh, he could have made it in time. We could have an epic showdown. I don't know. I may be a nerd, but I don't know the laws of how fast an X-Wing can fly. Maybe that X-Wing had no gas I don't know, maybe no fuel, and it couldn't have gone anywhere.
I mean, it looks like there's only milk from a weird alien on that planet. I don't think there's over fuel.
So I think but he lands and I think it was beautiful, and I think it was beautiful for him, and it showed how powerful he is. He's one of the most powerful Jedi to ever exist.
It also showed that Kylo finally is at the breaking point where he's like, I'm gonna do my own thing.
He's now our big bad.
Order by myself.
He's the supreme leader.
I'm finally going to take this role as being on the dark side.
And then we get everyone meeting, and we get the happiness of the boy with the broom using the Force to bring it, and with the rebel thing, it reminds you that Jedi will always, no matter what happens, the Sith are still going to somehow show up. We learned that in the prequels when there's been 1,000 years of peace, and there's always going to be Jedi. Yeah. There will always be the light, the dark, and a little bit of light in the dark, and a little bit of light in our
just a whole spectrum of lights and darks.
And man, this movie blew me away with all these parallels. Now I want to get into quick speculation of what I think is going to happen.
Yeah,
I think
please
it'll be fun.
Go right ahead.
I think there's one character left we can introduce. I think that character is perfect to bring in 9. And when they're like, no one came to help us, Luke showed up. I think one character shows up a little too late to help.
Han Solo!
Lando Calrissian.
Oh, you do think
Billy D. Williams shows up. He's like, what the heck happened?
Yeah. Where is everyone?
That would be insane, though, if he brought what they needed. Because there's only a handful of them left. And I think that's a great way to introduce his character. And then if Leia passes away, he could then be like, no, I'll help.
Yeah,
I'll help. And I think the next movie could be like all-out war. Yeah. Where you get everyone you can, you fight, led by Rey and Finn, and maybe Finn is a Jedi. Like, we don't know. Like,
that's true.
We still so much to learn.
We still don't know.
And guys, I'll probably do another solo podcast. I know my brother is a big Star Wars fan, wants to come on and talk more, but I think we should wrap up.
Yeah, totally.
We both gave 9s. Gonna see it again. So those are all our thoughts going through the movie. We really, really liked it. We had our big issue, but we didn't want to talk about it because we had a few nitpicks throughout that we talked about, but the score was killer. It was beautiful. It was just amazing. I love this film. It's one of the best Star Wars films I think ever. Right now, it's in my top 3. It's my 3rd.
Right.
I go Empire, New Hope, Last Jedi right now. So
nice.
I think it's one of the best. I think in years to come, I think it'll sway more people. I think when you see it more, people will start to understand. I think 9 will help make it feel better for those people who have struggle. But hey, guys, if you didn't like it, that's fine. You know, film is subjective.
You're just weird.
Yes. But film is subjective, so if you didn't like it, you didn't like it. But those are our thoughts. Those are our thoughts. Thanks for sticking with us for like an hour. So
yeah, if you guys watch this entire thing, that's awesome.
Comment below all your thoughts. There's a spoiler review. If you're on this video, you know it's spoilers. Comment spoilers. I don't even care. Shouldn't be on this video if you haven't seen the film. So go see the film, guys. Go at least check it out. Be unbiased. Take everybody's words in. Hear all the critics who hate it, who love it, who are in the middle. Make your own opinion based off of your own love, your own like, and then if you hear somebody else be like, I actually thought of it this way, and you're like, that's a good point. I like that. Take it in and like it. So I loved it. I thought it was Star Wars again. I felt 7 years old. Yeah. And I loved it, guys. So, hey, thanks for watching this vlog thing. I know Mom didn't stick with the whole thing.
Totally fair.
I love you anyway.
See you guys.